Hey, it is Friday. Welcome into your go-to show for sports here on the Shore. Delmarva Sports Insider. I'm Anthony Joseph.
And I'm Chris Brunk. Thank you for joining us. We have so much to get into tonight, Anthony.
Chris, you say that every week. Let's go over what we have in store for you on DSI. Tonight, we've had some highlights from the Parkside girls as they take on Westlake in the 2A quarterfinal game. Plus, we're sitting down with Sussex Central Malachi Stratton, who is a four-time DIA wrestling champ.
And we've got highlights from the Stephen Decatur and South River boys tournament game and also the Skipjacks Region 20 semifinal against Montgomery College. But we start with a Stephen Decatur field hockey player that is making history, Anthony.
We certainly are there, Chris. Bailey Griffin is a multi-sport athlete for Stephen Decatur. The junior is a talented field hockey player. She's also played softball. She just verbally committed to East Stroudsburg University for field hockey. At Decatur, she's had some winning shots. She scored a lot of goals. Bailey is the first Decatur field hockey player to ever receive a Division I scholarship to play field hockey. Bailey talks about why she wanted to play for the Warriors.
It definitely feels really good knowing that my hard work has really gotten me somewhere, and everything I've put into the sport is just really showing off for me. So definitely just feels really great. They're just an amazing program with amazing coaches. Their head coach is in the Hall of Fame for field hockey. They have amazing outcomes. They've been in the NCAAs for the last 9 years consecutively. They've had multiple national championships, and it just seems like a really fitting program, and I really think I'm going to elevate my play there.
And another two-sport athlete, Colonel Richardson's starting quarterback, Teron Hammond, has decided where he will be playing college football. He's taken his talents to Widener University. Last year, he threw for 831 yards, completing his passes at a 52% clip. Hammond had 10 passing touchdowns with only 1 interception, good for a QB rating of 110. He ran the wing T offense for the Colonels. He's also on the basketball team. They just secured a regional title. They're playing in the state quarterfinals at Liberty High School tomorrow.
He's super quick there, Chris. UMES earlier this year ended their 55-game losing streak. They are looking for more wins. UMES would take on Delaware State for their MEAC conference opener, heating up in the 6th inning when Jonathan Gonzalez of UMES hit a sacrifice fly, bringing home Ansel Carson. In the 8th inning, as Delaware State struggled getting outs and with the bases loaded, walked Joshua Caldwell, bringing Danny Sadler home. Then you had a wild pitch from DSU, opening for Diego DePonte to steal home as UMES led 3-zip in the 8th. Very next play, another wild pitch, and this time it's Ryan Davis turned to steal home with the bases loaded. Again in the 8th, DSU, they're going to take a walk. Jason Brown as Danny Sadler scores here in the 8th. There's a sacrifice fly bringing home Quentin Smith as UMES would go on and strike out Delaware State in the 9th inning, shutting them out in the conference play 7-0. After the game, we spoke with Danny Acosta, talked about his win against Delaware State and the team's performance.
I mean, a win is a win. It's fantastic. It's great to feel, just coming back in the winning streak again. But, the guys did a great job. They performed. Our pitcher, Jonas Stebner, threw the complete game, had complete control of the strike zone, and just did a very good job.
It's hard not to root for that group, but we also had Parkside girls basketball hosting the Westlake Wolverines in the 2A quarterfinals. Zion Smith pulling up in transition. That's a smooth bucket for number 5 in White. She had 13 points on the night. Now it's Ronnie White, catch and shoot from the wing. That's her spot. White has been on fire in the postseason, but the Rams can get scoring from any player on the court. Talia Clark spots up in the corner, knocks it down. 3 triples and 15 points for Clark against the Wolverines. White's been a sharpshooter, but she can do it off the dribble too. Look at that spin, gets baseline, gets the bucket. 19 points for Ronnie White to lead all scorers in the game. Zion Smith running the floor. Zion to Zion connection. OG knows what to do with that dime. 11 points for her. Rams 4 starters in double figures in a dominant win over the Wolverines. They punched their ticket to the 2A state semifinals. Here's head coach Warren White talking about how his team has really bought in, finding their rhythm and now peaking at the right time.
There are certain things, if you all will follow our roadmap to success, you will be successful. And they didn't do that until I kept harping on it, and saying, if you want to get there, it's time for you to listen to the way we do things. They've started to listen, and now they're seeing the results of it, and now we're going to reap the rewards of it. That's what's so important about it.
Congratulations to Coach Warren White in his final season before he's retiring, almost to 500 wins.
They really were so impressive tonight, Anthony. It's incredible what that Rams team looks like right now heading into the state semifinals.
And who knows, they might bring home that championship. Now to college basketball, as you have the Chesapeake Skipjacks. They've also been on a roll this year. The Chesapeake Skipjacks, they were battling Montgomery in the semifinals at Howard Community College in Columbia, Maryland. His team has the 3rd highest win total in 55 years of the program. The former SU men's basketball coach, Andy Sachs, is now in his 5th season at the helm for the Skipjacks. The Skipjacks defeated Montgomery College 73-49 to keep their hopes alive of getting that automatic bid to the national tournament in Danville, Illinois. They now play Howard in the Region 20 Championship tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Coach Sachs talks about this magical season.
We have a high standard here that we want to try to play for a championship every year. So it just kind of, emphasizes what we think is important, that, is getting guys to the next level, having guys learning how to play together. And, when you win 24, 25 games, it kind of puts a cherry on top of the season. But we're not done yet. And I think it's something that we can certainly build on.
And in high school boys basketball this week, Anthony, we had Stephen Decatur taking on South River at home, a battle of the Seahawks in the East Regional Final. Decatur's star player, David Chandler, who doesn't know that name, he's hoping to lift his team to a regional championship. They start with the ball in his hands. Chandler zips a pass to Judah Carmack down low. Carmack would lead Decatur in scoring with 12 points in this game. South River was on fire from deep. Jonah Hall, no hesitation from well beyond the arc. 7 made threes in the first half for the visitors. Decatur needs a spark. Solomon David provides one right there. He makes the 3, gets the foul for the 4-point play, but it wouldn't be enough. Jaden McDuffie for South River, slice into the hoop, finishes plus the foul. 24 points for McDuffie, leads all scorers in the game. South River proved to be just too much for Stephen Decatur. The home Seahawks fall and their season ends in the regional final. And Anthony, it's not the result that they were hoping for, but Stephen Decatur just had such an impressive season and such a talented team. The future is definitely bright in Berlin.
Certainly, they were undefeated in the Bayside at 18-0. Stay updated while we're at these games in real time.
Make sure to follow WMDT Sports on Facebook and X right now.
We're calling our first time out, but when we return, I'm sitting down with one of the great wrestlers in the history of Delaware.
We've got that and more coming up when Delmarva Sports Insider returns.
I'm Warren White, head girls basketball coach at Parkside High School, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
Welcome back to Delmarva Sports Insider. My special guest, Malachi Stratton with Sussex Central Wrestling. He's a 4-time DIA state champion. He is the best wrestler of all time. He has the most wins in wrestling history in high school on Delmarva. Malachi, how does it feel when you say you're the best wrestler, and you are, because you have 200 wins, the most that any wrestler has ever racked up?
It feels real great. It's something I've been working real hard for the past 4 years, so to finally hear people say it, it's really pretty big.
Talk about the hard work that's gone into becoming the best wrestler of all time.
A lot of things are behind the scenes. A lot of people see my hand raised on the center of the mat, but a lot of things they don't see is the hard work that I put behind closed doors, not just in school, but in club practices as well. So it really means a lot to see it all pay out.
Now, of course, at Sussex Central, you've had a lot of great wrestlers throughout the years, but you have the most wins, as I mentioned, at 200. What does it mean to you to hold that accomplishment?
It means a lot to me. Since I first came into high school, I set my mind on trying to be the best that I can be and be a guy that when you talk about, Delaware wrestling, the guy that name comes up. So it means a lot to finally know that when you talk about Delaware wrestling, I'd be somebody that'd be in the conversation.
In a couple years, or maybe 4 or 5, what do you want people to say about Malachi Stratton?
I just want people to say that he was not, just a wrestler, but a phenomenal guy. Day in and day out, he performed every night. Did you watch him wrestle? And you can just say that he put on a show. What
is your signature move? I know you like that cradle, but what is that signature move? Every wrestler has that signature. Can you reveal it now?
On my feet, I'd say I was a low single guy. And then on top, you can look for a tilt this year, but overall, in my 4 years, I was more of a bar and wrist, bar and a half type of guy.
What does the future hold? Do you want to go to college? Do you still want to wrestle? What does Malachi want to do?
Malachi will continue to be the same guy he is now. I plan on taking my talent somewhere else on the Division I level and continue to perform.
Are you getting a lot of interest? I mean, when I keep saying it, 4-time state champion, DIAA, most wins in wrestling history in Delaware. Like, you have to be receiving a lot of interest.
Yes, I actually am. A lot of them, a few came in my junior year, but this year I really put on a show on the national level as well. And a lot of them came throughout the season. Even some came after this past Saturday. And I plan on taking a deeper look at them now that the season's over and really deciding on where I plan to spend my next 4.
What will you miss not being able to wrestle for Sussex Central?
I'll definitely miss the community behind me because, as you guys may have seen, when I won my 4th state title, they came out pretty big. So I'm definitely going to miss the support that I had from Sussex Central. In front of their eyes, I couldn't really do anything wrong. So the love they gave me just was phenomenal, and that's something I'm definitely going to miss.
Talk about the family support and them helping you get to where you are today.
My family support is really strong. It's pretty deep. Anytime I may be down or feel like I can't do something, they're there to lift me up and tell me, like, you're that guy, you put the work in, and you're going to do it.
A real quick question. What do people, might people not realize about Malachi Stratton in just a couple words?
He's outgoing, kind, and just a great person.
Thank you so much, Malachi. I really appreciate you taking the time. Back to you, Chris.
Now, Malachi's older brother, Rashad, currently an assistant coach at Indian River, also won 2 individual titles wrestling with Sussex Central back in 2017 and 2018. Well, coming up, find out how cuts to federal programs made by the Trump administration could affect education on Delmarva. Plus, UMES is looking to make department-wide cuts by as much as 5%. We'll have those stories and more coming up after the break.
This is David Hearn, head football coach at Delmarva High School, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
Welcome back, everyone. Some news for you now. Cuts to numerous federal programs made by the Trump administration and how one of the most recent changes is affecting education here on Delmarva. WMDT's Tara Williams has the story.
Just recently, the United States Department of Agriculture suspended the 1890 Scholars Program for 19 universities. One of those schools was the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Officials there tell me just how detrimental this cut could be.
Well, it was a little frightening initially to see the federal government move to take resources away from students who are in careers that benefit not just our area and our region and our state, but the entire country.
The USDA's website read, the 1890 Scholars Program has been suspended pending further review. The program provided full tuition for students studying agriculture, food, or natural resource sciences, and University of Maryland Eastern Shore is one of those schools affected.
I think it's important that people in our region understand the huge economic impact that this institution has, not just in agriculture, in food science, but in health professions, in aviation, and a lot of services that people receive on a day-to-day basis.
Vice President for Strategic Communications and Marketing for UMES, Robert Vickers, says this would affect HBCUs in a negative way.
Well, the margins in higher education are thin for everyone, particularly thin for HBCUs, public or private.
To put the impact in perspective, $19.2 million worth of scholarships were awarded in October 2024. Vickers says HBCUs need more, not less, of government resources.
That's really the business of HBCUs, is to take whatever resources we have available and give our students the best opportunity, and the communities that we serve the best opportunities to flourish.
Currently on their website, a statement reads, quote, "The USDA 1890s National Scholars Program application period has been reopened, and applications will be accepted through March 15th. Universities say they will keep an eye out for changes, and they will continue to help their students." Because Local Matters, Tiara Williams, WMDT.
And for more information on the USDA's 1890 National Scholars Program, visit USDA.gov. Meanwhile, UMES is also looking to make department-wide cuts by as much as 5%. This as the state grapples with a $3 billion budget deficit. Governor Wes Moore recently announcing the decision, saying all higher education institutions in the state could see cuts. UMES officials say they anticipate the upcoming changes and are prepared. Strategic Communications and Marketing VP Robert Vickers says that the faculty might not be impacted.
Vice President for Administration and Finance told the institution, despite the fact that we had made some preemptive cuts and are prepared to make the cuts that the state is asking for, that this should not affect the employment of our faculty and staff.
Now, of course, nothing has been made official as the state is working through solutions regarding that crisis. And in Wycomico County, they might be making some changes to the sale of alcohol at festivals and events. Senate Bill 798 would allow temporary to-go containers for alcoholic beverages. Customers would be able to take them to different vendors at one event venue, and this would only be authorized through a licensing system by the festival or event. Maryland State Senator of District 37, Johnny Mounts, loves the idea, saying it would make things more flexible between vendors and customers, keeping everybody happy.
This license would enable the event to do is to get a license that would allow for an approved cup that could be utilized. So if you were to buy a beverage at one of the vendors, you could walk to another vendor and then try a different beverage at a different vendor.
That bill has passed through the Senate chamber and now heads to the Maryland House.
Okay, guess my turn here. Let's get into it with our forecast moving forward here. So you look at the front end of this, temperatures in the 50s. That's actually average here for this time of the year. We soar into the 60s, and yes, a couple 70-degree days next week. Wednesday, well, one 70-degree day next week. The weekend looking okay. And the overall air pattern, which I'll talk about a little more coming up here, is looking like it's going to stay well above average for potentially the final days of the season. Spring starting on March 20th, by the way, I believe 5:01 in the morning if you're keeping track. Keeping track of the time, remembering that tomorrow night we spring forward 1 hour as daylight savings starts. We turn the clocks forward, as I talked about, 2 a.m. there, technically Sunday morning. We're going to test those smoke alarms. Remember that twice a year here during these time changes, it is important to check the smoke alarms, make sure those batteries are working. Yeah, I know we're going to lose an hour of sleep. Check on that, I know. But check mark for sun setting an hour later. How about that? 7:22 sunrise tomorrow morning, 7:03 sunset for the afternoon in Salisbury. Looking good. All right, the radar is showing a lot of action here. You might have seen this on your phone's radar, but no, not hitting the ground, or at least what's coming through northern Maryland. It's called virga, or precip that evaporates before it gets to the ground. The air here at the lower levels really dry. I'm sure some of us already know that, right? If you're impacted by that. And another cold front headed our way to kind of reinforce the cool nature of the air, or the average temperatures that I talked about for this time of the year. So this system off to the west is actually going to dive south. That front comes through tomorrow morning. So you're going to, if you're an early riser, you might see a lot of clouds around. I'm thinking, it's not going to be a great day. No, that front comes through past 7 a.m. Look at that, clearing all the clouds away. It's going to be blustery again, though. The wind's kicking up, temperatures hanging out somewhere near 50, maybe a couple degrees above for a bit. But that's your Saturday afternoon. It's looking okay. Tomorrow night,
it's going to be on the cold side. We'll see the 20s back before we start the warming process that will get us into the 60s and 70s next week. And what's going on with that? Well, it's the jet stream. It's always about the jet stream. The polar jet is taking a dip here this weekend. That's why we're getting a little bit of that, I don't want to call it Arctic air, but the edge of Arctic air. But the subtropical jet is allowed to move north. There's 2 branches here that we're tracking. The subtropical jet, important to the warm-up next week because it lifts north towards us, and that allows us to get to the 60s and 70s next week. Increasing clouds tonight. Temperatures don't get to freezing, but tomorrow will be a blustery and chilly day. 51 to 56 is, again, early clouds give way to afternoon sun. It gets better looking as the day goes on. Springing forward 1 hour Sunday, late sunset start, 55 degrees with plenty of sun. 63 on Monday, 67 Tuesday, low 70s on Wednesday. Anthony, one shot for rain. I know we've been seeing all those games getting rained out, snowed out, whatever. This 7-day forecast is not looking too bad. I think the games will get played.
I like this kind of weather, Rich. Keep it coming. Stick around. The SU women's lacrosse has been so impressive. Coming up, find out who they're going to play tomorrow, and it's going to be their toughest challenge yet. You're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
This is Rich Farrell from Stephen Decatur High School, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
Welcome back. You're watching Delmarva Sports Insider. The UD softball team is on a 4-game winning streak. One of their pitchers just achieved an important milestone. Billy Kerwood just earned her 500th career strikeout. She's one of 10 active college pitchers with 500 strikeouts in Division I in their career. She has recorded more than 50 strikeouts on the year. But her teammate, she also had an impressive play, and it was phenomenal. It's a deep play. It's coming up. And it's going down. She dives and makes it, throws it to first base, and turns 2. Wow, what a play. The former Caravel star turning 2. I really like that play. That is really impressive. I could watch that over and over and over there, Chris.
It really does not get any better than that from a defensive standpoint. Center fielder just charging full speed ahead, taking turf to the face, I'm sure, as she
and gets up very, very quickly, has the high IQ, throws it to first base, and the runner's out.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable double play right there. And now moving on to lacrosse, the SU women's lacrosse team, they're having another really good season. The Seagulls 3-1 on the year. Last week they scored 20 goals in a rout of Washington at home. On the season they've racked up 49 goals, nearly 12 tallies a game. Tomorrow's contest will be only the second road game for the Seagulls. It's a game against number 6 ranked Gettysburg. That's just going to be their toughest challenge yet. The Gettysburg Bullets are 3-0. Undefeated. The game starts Saturday at 12. And Anthony, it's hard to overstate how high the expectations are pretty much every year for SU women's lacrosse. You know, when you've got a guy like Jim Nestor at the helm with 4 national titles under his belt. You know, they had a rough loss earlier in the season against Washington and Lee. But you expect them to compete in those games, and we expect them to compete tomorrow against Gettysburg.
We always think they're going to the playoffs, Chris.
Yeah.
Coming up after the break, find out who's going to be the WMDT Athlete of the Week. You're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
My name is Adam Manning, General Manager of the Salisbury Stakes, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider.
Well, it's nice to see this here. The flag in downtown Georgetown is not blowing around like it has, it seems like, the past 48 straight hours. Shore Auto Sales Skycam in Georgetown, and taking a look at temperatures here across the area. Georgetown 46, just heard from weather watcher Chucky and Lewis. He's at 45 degrees right now. Elsewhere, looks like 46, 45, pretty popular number, a little cooler in Dover at 43. Kalakia, dog walking forecast tomorrow. Good day for Lacey to be out and getting that walk in, a little breezy. Might need the jacket, but gloomy skies give way to sun through the day. Low 50s expected for a high temperature. Much improved here for our marine forecast. Not perfect out there, but those seas are way down compared to the past couple days. Good to see that. 7-day forecast after springing forward tomorrow night, 1 hour. We get into the low 60s next week at the beaches. Not as warm, obviously, as inland, but still some beautiful days. Chance of a shower, Chris and Anthony on Thursday, but not too bad.
Thank you so much, Rich. It's that time to unveil the WMDT Athlete of the Week, and this week it's Jazeer Dickerson. Dickerson against Boheme Manor scores a team-high 43 points. Oh, that is so smooth to the hoop. The Colonels will go on to beat Manor 89-65 for the 2A East title.
Anthony, I don't know if anyone has ever been more deserving of Player of the Week than Jazeer Dickerson, putting up 43 points in a regional final. We want to hear who you think should win next week's award. Send in your suggestions to our email, sports@wmdt.com.
And I'm waiting for those, so make sure you send them.
Yeah, let's see them.
This past week after the whistle, we looked at LaShawn Moody, the former Viking, now freshman for the Chesapeake College Skipjacks, who have had a phenomenal season. Who is coming up next there, Chris?
Well, we heard from him earlier tonight, maybe the greatest wrestler in Delaware history. It's Malachi Stratton, Monday in the News Hour. You'll get some perspective from Sussex Central Wrestling head coach Shane Miller as well. You won't want to miss it. It's hard to get too much of Malachi Stratton when you are that sensational at what you do. We get to double dip here.
He is a great, phenomenal student athlete and the best wrestler of all time.
Yeah, I mean, and you meet him in person and he just is such a great kid. He's an IB student as well. Well, that's going to do it for Delmarva Sports Insider. Be sure to follow us on social media all weekend long.
Have a great night.